Tommy Reynolds has his gun out. He's pointing the gun, and all of a sudden, I see this woman.
They say it's on every single station. They're saying that Daddy died.
I don't think his life ended at Holston's that night.
If it wasn't for Sopranos, I don't know if I'd be here,
My first sting, and I'm with these legends, my De Niro.
One night I jumped out of a car doing 60 miles an hour because I was addicted.
Salute, Mob 2.
Salute, MobTube. I hope everybody's excited. I got a good interview coming up. I've been waiting on this for quite some time. So I am excited and ready to go. So let me welcome Ori Spado. Hi, Ori. How are you?
Good morning, my friend. How are you today?
Good. Doing good. Glad to have you on. Thank you. Thank you for doing this. You good? Can you hear me okay?
I'm good. Let's roll, buddy.
All right. So let's
you hear
get
me
started.
Okay?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. Yep.
All
right. So let me get started from the beginning here. You grew up in Rome, New York, correct?
Correct.
Can you tell us a little bit about Rome, what it's like? A lot of people probably don't even know that there is a town called Rome in New York.
Well, Rome, New York is in the right in the middle of New York State. We used to have a saying in the old days: if God was to give New York State an enema, he would stick the tube in Rome.
That's good. That's very good. I know towns like that.
I had a great childhood. I grew up at 215 West Liberty Street. Mom, dad, 2 brothers, 3 sisters. We lived in a duplex home. My grandparents, aunts and uncles lived next door. We had dinner every night, all of us together. We had a garden. We talked to our neighbors. It was, a lot of people say it was a period in time that I grew up in the best period of time. And I think I did. We didn't have cell phones. You're lucky if you had a phone.
Yeah.
I had a great childhood. I was in a lot of fights. I helped a lot of people out. I hustled. I had a paper route. Always hustling. I learned to play poker when I was about 13 years old. And I played with the older people. And at the age of 18, I joined the Army. I did 3 years, ended up at Schofield Barracks in Hawaii. Couldn't ask for anything better. Had a great time in the Army. I loved it. Upon my release, I went back to Rome, New York. I had a job lined up here in Los Angeles with Pan American Airlines. I was engaged to a gal, a Jewish gal, and her father was against us getting married. Not too far from where I'm living right now is her home. And her father would have disowned her if she married me.
Yeah.
They were stringent Jewish family where they had actually picked out her husband. So I told her to go back home because I couldn't provide the kind of life that she was accustomed to. And I went back to Rome. After a few jobs, I ended up in the insurance business. With my very dear friend, Frank Russo, who was a lawyer, and his father was the boss in upstate New York, Frank Russo Sr. And you're Sicilian, but we're Calabrian.
Yeah.
So, and my grandfather came over. He was a made man, my grandfather, from Calabria also. And so through the years, I got to meet different people, but I was a legitimate businessman for most of my life until my first indictment. And, you got to make a living. You got to do what you got to do. at certain periods of time of your life. And I became friends with Sonny Franchise. Right up until his death, we were talking just a week before he passed away. He passed away quickly because he sounded so good. I mean, he sounded like he always did when we talked through the years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, you know, hey, he was 103 years old. Out
Yeah.
here on the West Coast, my best friend was Jimmy Kachi. Now, Jimmy Kachi was the equivalent of Sonny Franchise out here. Most people don't know that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Jimmy was the underboss of the Los Angeles crime family. And he and I were very close, like brothers. And we did a lot of things in Las Vegas, Los Angeles, all around here. We made a lot of money. We spent a lot of money. We had a lot of good times. And, you know, Jimmy, like Sonny, did a lot of time in prison. And, you know, life goes on, my friend. And all the good people are dead. I'm fortunate that I'm still here. I'm blessed that I could discuss certain things. I see some of your other interviews. I see guys talking about killing guys. I don't talk about that.
Yeah, no.
I don't talk about crime. And
No, I
I know that's
understand
what
that.
you want to hear. Okay.
Well, no, you have a very interesting life story. As a matter of
I
fact,
got
I
to
was
shut
gonna,
that off again. Pause it.
okay. I have a lot of questions for Ori.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
No problem. Actually,
No,
no,
I
that's not
do
all.
have a problem with my hearing. See, I do wear hearing aids.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. I actually, I don't want to just hear about crime. I actually wanted to backtrack a little bit and talk to you about when you were honorably discharged from the service, right?
Yes, I was honorably discharged from the military in 1966.
Okay. And I was reading your book, and you know, there's something that stuck out to me. It seemed like you and your dad were very, very close. Is that right?
Who?
You had a very you and your father.
Yes.
You're very close. I'm sure he was very proud of you for your time in the service.
My father was a good man.
Yeah.
Uh, although he was not involved in the life, his father did not want him involved. Nobody else in my family became involved with the exception of me. And there was a time when my father told me an awful lot. It happened to be the night of my bachelor party when we sat in St. Carlos restaurant. And my father told me a little bit about the history of his father, his uncle, or his father's brother, who now I never met my grandfather. He died before I was born. He died very young. My father died at the age of 62. And it's funny, me and my older brother, we never thought we would live to 63. My brother passed away at 82 a couple years ago. I'm 77. I'm still here. I think my judge is surprised that I'm still alive.
Probably.
Because they really thought I was going to die in prison. Well, you know, you go to prison, you know, first of all, you know, they changed all my freaking medication. They did it to me. They did it to my friend Tommy Gioli. Okay. And Tommy's still going. Tommy will be out in another year or two. You know, the medical And prison is the worst that you can get. And veterinarians do better service to dogs than what somebody gets in prison.
Yeah. So after your father passed away in '69, is that correct?
62.
62. Okay,
He
I'm
was
sorry.
62 years old.
Okay. All right. So when did you how did you get involved in the insurance business? I know you started your own agency.
How did I get involved in the life?
No, in the insurance business.
I was approached. At first I worked at Revere for 3 weeks and 3 days. Then I worked at Chicago Pneumatic, which made airplane parts. I worked there a few months. Then I went to computer business and machine school. And you got to realize, back in those days, a computer was bigger than this building. Not like
Yeah.
what you and I got in front of us. Okay.
Yeah.
And I remember they took us out to a bank to show us how it worked. And it was late at night. And I'm looking at all these guys working on this computer. Yeah, they had white shirts and a tie on, but it still looked like a factory to me. I said,
Yeah.
shit, that ain't for me. And I ended up with the Prudential Insurance Company. They hired me. I loved it. I was extremely successful at it. I was a good salesman, which I always tell people I think it came from when I was a paper boy. I was knocking on doors, asking people to subscribe to the newspapers and so forth. And, I always hustled a dollar. Unfortunately, my mother used to try to teach us all to save money. I don't know why. My brothers and sisters learned it. I always
But
had
not
to
you.
spend it. So,
Yeah.
you know, I remember when I got out of the service and I sat with my father. My father says, son, you should not have come back here to Rome. You should have stayed in California. There's nothing here for you. I said, well, Dad, I don't have the money to go back. I said, once you give me a job at Revere, I'll work the night shift. I'll save all my money. And then within a couple months, I can go back to California. So that's what he did. Because my father was one of the founders of the union for Revere Copper and Brass.
Yeah.
And I remember as a kid going to Chicago, meeting with Jimmy Hoffa. But anyway, so he got me the job. I got my first pay. I remember it was terrible, working freaking nights. I'd be sleeping, I want breakfast. And I would smell my mother's pasta coming up the stairs, I would smell the sauce, And then when I got paid, first week I got paid, I picked up this girl, went to a hotel, and I blew my whole paycheck.
That'll do
And then
it.
the second week, the same thing. I just liked women. I liked having fun. And after 3 weeks and 3 days, I left there. Didn't save a nickel. But I did very well in the insurance business. I was a member of the $1 Million Round Table. And from there, I went on, created my own insurance agency. I was doing several millions of dollars a year then, until my first federal indictment in Syracuse Federal Court, 1979. And my life changed from there on.
Yeah.
And, I think part of, I become a con man. I'm writing a book about con men, by the way.
Are you really?
I'm writing 2 books, and my agents are negotiating with a publisher for a fee. They're going to be 2 different books. But what is a con man? A con man is a smooth talking individual. He's a salesman. All right? Make you believe anything that we want you to believe. Make you trust us. That's a good con man. And we're going to, in my book, I will be teaching people how to spot a con man on social media. Because it's the evolution of the new con man.
Yeah.
They don't have to meet you in person no more, and they're going to take their money from you.
Ori, it's so funny you say that because we have so many of them right here on YouTube. There's so many con men right now, right here on YouTube, that scam people every day. It's unbelievable.
It's crazy. But look at I know an individual that I met in Clubhouse. He proclaims to have millions of viewers on Facebook. He bought them all in Bangladesh. He's got a podcast. He told me before the podcast, you're going to get 50,000 views. And I thought to myself, how could he tell me how many views I'm going to get? I did the podcast. Within 2 days, I had 57,000 views. I looked at it. But I had only one comment. And the comment was posted by him where he posts his website. He purchases all the views. Nobody else has seen the goddamn thing.
It's so funny you say that.
Podcast that he did the same thing. But yet YouTube is paying him based upon all the views he gets.
Yep. Yeah, it's so funny you bring this up, Ori, because we're dealing with a guy on YouTube right now who he does that. He buys all his views. We got a couple of guys on here who buy their subscribers, and they don't earn anything they get. They just pay for it.
I can't figure out how YouTube pays these people on fake views. Can you figure that out, my friend?
No, I can't. We've been trying
it's a hell
to.
of a gimmick. And, if I was technology savvy, I'd be doing that today. I don't know what the guys are doing back in New York, but the young guys should be getting into fucking tech. That's the new scam.
Yeah.
I'm sure some are.
Is. Oh, yeah, I'm sure some of them are.
You know the Russians are.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. So you throughout your life, you knew a lot of notorious figures. You knew Meyer Lansky, Russell Buffalino, Frank Costello, Carlos Marcello. How did you come to meet these characters?
Well, I met Frank Costello, what called Uncle Frank. I was told to call him Uncle Frank, through Frank Russo. Now, once again, Frank Costello was Calabrian, so there's a thing. But Frank Russo's wife lived. She was a singer from Boston, and she lived with Eddie Costello. I bet you never heard of Eddie Costello.
No, I never have.
Frank Costello's brother.
Oh, okay.
He was a tough bastard too. Not many people realize that. And I met Frank Costello the first time at the Waldorf Hotel. And one thing that you learn in life is when you're a young person, you never talk unless you're spoken to. And Frank Russo and Frank Costello spoke in Italian to each other, which I did not understand. It's funny. I can go to Italy, I could understand them. And I come here, I can't understand it. Can you figure that one out?
No.
Huh? But anyhow, that's how I met Frank Costello. Russell Buffalino, I also met with Frank Costello. The first time I met Russell was, I believe, the restaurant where we had lunch with him in a restaurant called the Marcos. It was on 40-something Street. And he was a very, very nice gentleman. All these guys were nice guys. I'm going to tell you something. They were all super individuals. Okay. No different than you and I, because they had a lot of power.
Yeah.
And then when Russell got arrested and he was transferred from Pennsylvania to New York, they had him overnight in Oneida County Jail for a few days. Now, back in those days, we had politicians in our pockets. And, Frank Russo was very good at that sort of thing with politician, political things, as Frank Costello was. I mean, where you learn this from? Frank Costello.
Yeah.
And we used to bring him spaghetti and meatball or sausage to the jail for him to eat. We bring that in the evening. Carlo Marcello, I met because Carlo was in the insurance business also.
Mm-hmm.
And that introduction came through Angelo Bruno out of Philadelphia. And I flew in the hopes of selling my business because I had a window of opportunity if I could make up the money that was missing in my insurance agency, which was close to $400,000. That's a lot of money back in the 70s.
Yeah, I'll
A lot
say.
of money today. But
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Carlo was having problems and he couldn't purchase the insurance company. And it was not long after that he got indicted, and I think it was an insurance scam. And I think the agent that was undercover, his name was Michael Wax, was one of the agents who happened to become an agent out here in Los Angeles with the FBI Los Angeles Organized Crime Force. And he was one of the agents that was looking at Ori Spado. So that's how I met that. Meyer Lansky, I actually met by accident.
Oh, really?
He happened to stay at the Warwick Hotel in New York, as I did. I always maintained a suite there back in the old days. And he had the suite above me. And one night, I remember I was invited to a fundraiser for Brandeis University. And I was in the lobby, and he and I met. And we started talking. He had his dog with him. And I walked with him. And every night that he was there, he and I would take a walk in the evening down 54th Street, make a left on Fifth Avenue, go to 57th, up back to 6th, around back to the Warwick. So he and I had a lot of nice, pleasant conversation. He was a very intelligent guy, very nice guy. We had a lot of conversations. I learned a lot from Meyer.
I'm sure you did. He's a legend.
Yes, no question about it.
Yeah. So when was your first encounter with Sonny Franzese?
With who?
Sonny Franzese.
Sonny. My
Yeah.
first encounter with Sonny Franchise, if you remember in my book, I was with Polyglyco Corporation, which was owned by Walter Fiveson out of Scarsdale, New York. And Walter was getting death threats. And he called me up, and I was in Florida. I was at my condo down in Pompano Beach. He was at his place in Boca Raton. I said, Walter, nobody's going to fucking call you up and tell you they're going to kill you. I said, it's bullshit. Forget about it. I said, it's not how it works. Okay? And he kept getting these calls. So then he asked me to fly into New York to help him close Victor Potemkin Cadillac. Do you remember Victor Potemkin?
No.
He was a large Cadillac dealer. He was the largest, Victor Potemkin, down on 11th Street, I want to say, in Midtown. 11th and 54th, I think it was. And I flew in, met at the office, Victor's office. We closed the deal. And then Victor took us out to Club 21 for lunch in his limo. And back in those days, no cell phones. Walter went, excused himself, called his office, came back, white as a ghost, leaned over. He says, "Kid, you got to stay over. I know you're wired in." He says, "There's got to be something to this. There's another call." He said, I'll pay your expenses." I said, "All right." So I called Frank Russo. He said, "Call Lou Perry." Lou Perry was a casting director. He's the guy that actually discovered Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis. His office were on 57th Street. Lou called me back. He says, "I'm picking you up at 7 o'clock. And he brought me to a restaurant, Trattoria's Siciliana on 2nd Avenue, which was a great restaurant. And the moment you walk in, I could recognize who's at the bar, who's sitting at the table, FBI. And this is the first time that I meet Sonny Franchese. But Sonny's not there alone. He's there with his wife, Johnny, his son Johnny, his daughter Gia, and his daughter Tina, the whole family. So Sonny was on my left, Lou Perry was on his other side. Sonny and I whispered to each other. He took my phone number in Florida, took my office phone number, and he says, "I'll see what I can find out." And we proceeded to have dinner. And I sometimes am allergic. I don't know what it is, the mercury or the iodine, something in the fish. But I became violently ill. I was vomiting. I had diarrhea. I mean, I'm hanging on one tree on 2nd Avenue. I'm hanging on to it at the freaking curb and the bathroom. Finally, had two guys take me. I think it was New York University Hospital. That was Red Krabby and Johnny Irish. And they brought me to the hospital. And I can remember as I was coming out of it, the doctors asking them, "What's their names?" They said, "Doc, you don't need that." "What's his name?" "I need it." "Doc, you don't need his name." Just get him out of here. And so they drove me back to my hotel, and then I got a call from Sonny. He was calling my office. And now what happened was I was moving from Florida back to New York City because Walter wanted me to run the 5 boroughs for polyglycol. And me and the lady became my second wife. We took a couple weeks to drive from Florida to New York. I mean, we stopped every place. I mean, she and I had a very unique love affair, man.
Yeah.
Sex was fantastic and never ending.
Nice.
And then when I got back to New York, and every day I come to my office, and my secretary would tell me, "Somebody's calling you every day. When I say you're not here and I ask for a name, they hang up." And finally I found out that was Sonny Franchese.
And what year was this about?
Well, Sonny wasn't out of prison for too long. I'm going to say that had to be 1979.
Okay.
I'm trying to recall.
Okay.
Somewhere around there. I think he got out in 78. This had to be 79, I think. And so I had to go to New York. And it turned out it was Michael Franchese. And it's all in my book. People could read what the results are, what happened at this. That was a sit down in the Russian tea room. And I sat directly across from Sonny. I'll never forget. I broke a rule. I
No, really.
spoke because I didn't think Sonny was understanding the situation. And I said, Sonny, let me put it in these terms. I think, now let's assume that somebody was moving in on your terror in the Bronx. And I'm going to tell you the fucking coldest eyes you ever wanted to see in your life went right
Really?
through me.
Wow.
And he looked at me and he says, you keep your mouth shut. Don't think for one moment that I don't understand what's going on here. I'll never forget that. Never.
I bet.
Anybody ever see Sonny Franche like that, they would never forget that. And I'm sure, I think it's been written like that about other people who witnessed that there. As
Yeah.
it turned out, the situation worked out to our benefit. Sonny sided with us. Michael was wrong in what he was doing. And when we left, Sonny grabbed me in front of the Russian troop, grabbed me by the arm, took me down the corner of Broadway and 57. He says, kid, I like you. He said, you got a lot of balls. He says, from now on, he said, you tell anybody, you have any problem, you're with me, he says. He said, I want you and your family at my home for Christmas. And that became a relationship of over 45 years. All his times in prison, all his times out of prison. He called me once a week from prison. He wrote me from prison. I helped his wife out save their home when he was in prison. And we had a lifelong relationship right up until the day he died.
Yeah, you were actually the one to report his death, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah, I'm sorry for the loss of your friend.
It's funny, Jimmy Kashi died while I was in prison. And I was probably one of the very few last people to talk to him. I remember I called him because, from prison, you don't get phone calls in, you got to call out.
Yeah.
I called him, and I could tell from his voice he wasn't good. He just got out of the hospital. He was driving, and he drove in the fucking back of a garbage truck.
Jesus.
He was 87 years old, too, at this time. I said, Jimmy, you don't sound well. I said, we're going to hang up this call. I want you to call Betty. You got to get back into Eisenhower. Eisenhower's a hospital down in Palm Desert.
Yeah.
I said, you got to get back there, Jimmy. I'm going to call you next week. Following week, I call. I get his machine. I keep calling him, machine. And then finally, there's no machine. And that's when I knew Jimmy had passed away. And finally, I was able to get a hold of his sister in Buffalo, and Jimmy passed away. She said, Ori, we got all your messages. We didn't know how to contact you. Of course, they couldn't contact me. And so Jimmy passed away. One of my last conversations with Sonny, I wanted to go visit Sonny. He kept asking me to come in. He wanted to talk to me about something. And I know what he wanted to talk to me about. I said, buddy, I'm not coming in to visit you. I'm not going to be the one responsible for them to violate you to go back to prison. Nah, buddy, you know how to sneak in here. I said, yeah, getting in is not a problem, son. I said, but at your age, they're still going to violate you. I
Yep.
said, and I don't want to be the one to be the cause of that. So what I did was I called this probation officer, and honestly, she was a very nice lady, very nice. I called her. I told her who I was. What was I? I was 74 years old at the time. I said, I'm 74. Sonny's 100 and something. I said, I just want to come back, bring my friend to dinner, talk with him. I said, we're not going to go out and rob a fucking bank. I said,
Yeah.
you know? She said, Mr. Spado, she says, I got to get permission from her boss. She said, I'll call you tomorrow. Next day, she called me. She said, Mr. Spado, I had to deny your request. She said, you're on the same indictment. You've been friends with Sonny for close to a half a century. She says, they're not going to allow it. But he'll be off paper in June, and you could visit him then. Well, Sonny didn't make it that long. But I'll tell you a funny story. We were talking one day, and we were talking about politics. Donald Trump is still president. He goes, I want money. It was all in the Bible. I said, what the fuck are you talking about, Sonny, in the Bible? When did you ever read the Bible? No, buddy, let me tell you, he says. He says, they had me in the fucking hole. He says, I read every book they had. Only one book was left, he says, and I read it was the Bible. He said, I'm going to tell you something. He said, those old bastards, whoever wrote that, they were smart. Yeah,
That's
he was
funny.
a character. But I tell you, Sonny was well read. He was a very intelligent guy. People don't see that side of somebody, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. You never hear about that part.
No, you don't hear about that.
So
you don't hear about bad things.
Oh, of course. Yeah, yeah. That's what sells. So going back a little bit, now you were also the first person to talk about Michael not being. I said going back a little bit, you were also the first person to talk about Michael not being Sonny's biological son, right?
I guess I was. I mean, there's a million people talking about that there.
Yeah.
Michael and I did have our differences, and I buried the hatchet. I had nothing to gain. Michael's got nothing to gain. And quite honestly, you know, what Michael did. Everybody knows about it. I don't have to discuss it. Okay.
Yeah.
But then again, everybody should give credit to Michael. You should give credit to Michael. You got this YouTube station. Everybody's got a YouTube station. Don't forget, Michael's the guy that started all this. He's the godfather of all this stuff in the gangster world. Michael and I talk now. We're having conversations. We're cool. There's no problem, no issues. And Michael will be coming up here to meet with me soon. And hopefully, you know, Michael and I could do something on a positive note. Because let's forget all the baggage and all the old shit that everybody wants to put him down. Okay? He does a lot of good. Okay? Whether you believe his religious thing or not, Michael does do a lot of good and helping a lot of youth out. And I do the same thing. So hopefully maybe he and I can do something together. Okay? But I want everybody to know I don't have a problem. And for those of you who have a problem, that's your problem, not mine.
Well, it's good. It's good to know that things are better between the two of you. What about John? Your relationship with John? How did that go?
I had no relationship with John nowadays.
Yeah.
And
but back in the day,
you heard me before. Look, and I want to tell you, my friend, You probably heard me. I take full responsibility for everything that I've done in my life. The good, the bad, and the ugly. And trust me, there was a lot of ugly.
Yeah.
Okay? I take full responsibility. I have no regrets on anything. I don't have no regrets about being indicted. I don't have a regret by doing time in prison. I can't blame nobody. It was my fault. I did it. I take full responsibility. Okay? I'm not going to say because this fucker ratted or that guy ratted. Okay? I should have been smarter than that. Okay? And one thing that you will see, I was smarter with Johnny because any time I took care of Johnny. I bailed Johnny out of jail here. I got him out of California. I did so much for Johnny that's unbelievable. But, at the end of the day, I didn't trust him.
Yeah.
So when I did talk to him, I was giving him disinformation. There was just an article out in Vanity Fair. Okay, just came out last week, I think. They talk about robbing a truck full of cocaine. That was disinformation that I gave them. They talked about shaking down this guy who owned these spas. Okay? I knew about that. I kept myself uninvolved. But I'll never forget the Saturday morning when Johnny came over and asked me to go with him because he said the guy had a spa here on Sunset Boulevard, one in New York and other places. And, and I got a call from New York. I got to talk to the guy. It was a Saturday. Thank God when I got there that individual was not there. And so I just left. Because if he was there, that would have been another predicate act on me in that indictment. But, I try helping Johnny out. I try getting him clean. And it was my son was doing promotions at nightclubs. Johnny came over here one night, hiring a kite. He wanted to go to I said, you're not going to that nightclub. I said, not the way you are. I said, Johnny, I'm going to bring you over to Cedars. I want you to tell them you're nuts. You're a danger to yourself and others. And they'll put you in Thalians. Yep. When you're out, I said, we'll get you in a rehab. Now, he was supposed to stay there for 72 hours. I got him there maybe about 9 o'clock at night. 4 a.m. in the morning is a knock at my fucking door. Johnny used to be able to get in my building. Johnny was good. I always lived in secure buildings, but he still be knocking at my door. Oh, Uncle, could I come in and sleep? No, you can't, Johnny. Stay right there. I don't want you in my house. You're not allowed in here no more. I got dressed. I said, I'm going to put you in a hotel. Because I just don't have it in me to just put the guy on the street. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I drove to Santa Monica, and all the hotels were full. Couldn't find a hotel room. And then we went to the Coffee Bean on Wilshire Boulevard. Had coffee. The sun was coming up. 6:30 a.m. in the morning. And he said, well, can you drive me to Michael's? But I was not supposed to know where Michael lived. Michael didn't want anybody to know. So, but I drove in that area. And a few blocks away, I said, Johnny, I'll drop you off at this curb. And I dropped him off. And it was 1 year later. I didn't hear from Johnny for a whole year. But when I dropped him off, he heard voices coming out of that building. I think Johnny will say this, and perhaps maybe he has. He heard voices, and there was a AA meeting or CA meeting or something that he went in, and he clicked. He clicked with the group, became sober, and when 1 year was up, he called me, And he says, Uncle Ori, would you, I'm getting my 1 year button, whatever they call that shit. He says, would you and my cousin Anthony come over? And I went to that meeting. I got to say, Johnny was a great speaker. And at that meeting, he thanked me and his cousin Anthony for coming. He said, I hope I'm allowed their home. No. And that was the beginning of Johnny's sobriety.
That's good.
And the rest is history. The rest
Right, yeah,
is
good to know. It's interesting learning all this stuff from you.
And
So-
Johnny was not just an informant for the FBI with Lewicki. As it came out in my case in Brooklyn, New York, Johnny was also an informant for the Sheriff's Department way back in the day where they tried to say I sold Johnny a gun. But they couldn't find the gun. They couldn't find the tape recording. Go figure.
Jesus. So he was wearing a wire all the way back then.
Way back then, yeah.
Jesus.
And that only
Unbelievable.
came up because one of my charges was a gun charge. And that came out, U.S. Attorney brought it up. Otherwise, we would not have known that even. But, you know, he probably was doing that because they were paying him a few bucks. And, you know, when you're an addict, you do anything for a few bucks to get your next fix.
Yeah, they were feeding his habit for him. Yep.
Yeah.
That's a shame. Wore a wire against his own father. That's really a shame.
That, you know, I listened to those tapes in Brooklyn when it's all part of our discovery. They were disgusting to listen to.
I'm sure.
I mean, he was recording his mother and father at the dinner table in their home.
Jesus Christ.
And then when he got through, and I swear to God, he'd go up to his bedroom. He would sing and be happy. This is all on the recording. He'd sing and be happy that he just recorded his mother and father.
It's a shame. It's sick. That's sick. Well, I wanted to ask you next about when you arrived to Hollywood, or you were known as the Hollywood Fixer.
Yeah.
And there was some very very famous people you helped. You helped Naomi Campbell, Suge Knight. And I know you have a lot of stories about that. What can you tell us about why they called you the Hollywood Fixer?
Well, I was not the only one. There were a lot of guys like me. There were a few other guys like me. Not a lot, but there were a few others. That actually began with Dino De Laurentiis and Ralph Serpi while they're filming across 110th Street in Harlem. They were getting robbed every night of all the equipment. Ralph Serpi called Lou Perry. Lou Perry called Frank Russo. Frank Russo had to go in and meet with him. I was with him. 1971. I think that was. And Frank went and talked to Frank Costello. And then overnight, all the robbery stopped. The next time was maybe a year or 2 years later. I met with them in Boston when they were filming The Brinks Job. I became friends with Ralph. They were The Brinks Job with Peter Falk, John Cassavetes. It was a great movie. I met the guy, Matt Jaffe, who actually performed, one of the guys who did The Brinks Job. We all had dinner together. And Dino used to have an office over here on Dayton and Cannon and Beverly Hills. When I was out here, We met. I remember they had a problem with a director and an actor. The actor was giving them a hard time on the set. They were pulling their hairs out. It was going over budget. I said, let me go over and talk to him. And that's how it began. I went, I talked to him. I resolved the issue. Nice. Don't talk about it. Don't say who was who. And that word went from there to the agents, to lawyers and entertainment lawyers, the studios. And I did a lot of favors. There's another, I don't mention the actor's name, but there's a situation where I got $2 million from ICM. Got a release to an actor. I don't mention his real name in there. I only mention Naomi Campbell for one reason. When I completed that project and took care of it, there was a gentleman staying with me, sleeping on my couch, by the name of Haitian Jack.
Yeah, can you tell everybody, for the people who aren't familiar, can you tell everybody who he is?
I called Wyclef. I told Wyclef it's done. All right. Naomi won't be bothered no more. And honest to God, I watched Jack get up from the fucking couch, go to the dining room table, and he calls Naomi and tells her he just took care of it. She don't have to worry no more.
He took credit.
All right. Hey, look, I knew the reason he did it, and I said, fuck it, no big deal. Okay. But, that's the only reason why I mentioned her name in there. It's all in my book. And, Jack threatened me. Come on, motherfucker. I'm right here, Jack. I'll buy your ticket. Come on, try to kill me. Okay. Yeah, he threatened me when I did the Gangster Chronicles. And he threatened those guys. He called them up from Haiti. He was a little upset. Oh, well.
Yeah. Can you tell everybody, for the people who aren't familiar, can you fill them in on who Haitian Jack is?
Haitian Jack had been a snitch for many, many years, just like Tupac sang in his song.
Yep.
Tupac was one of the first people to come out with it. Now, there was a situation back in New York. Forget about Haitian Jack shooting him in Quad Studios. Okay. The reason Tupac ended up in prison was a supposed rape of a girl. There were three people there. Tupac, Haitian Jack, the other guy named Ricky Lee, a Jamaican boy. Tupac ended up in prison, not the other two.
Yeah, there you go.
Suge Knight recognized a situation. He took advantage of it, went back, and he was able to sign Tupac. And that's how we got him. He bailed Tupac out. And you got to say, in that area, Suge was a smart guy. Now,
Oh, yeah.
I liked Suge. Suge and I always had a deep respect for each other. Outside of the fact that, me and my friends in London were able to collect $1 million for him. Okay. We always run each other to Four Seasons or nightclubs or different places. And while I was in prison, he'd run into my son and I always pass on his respect and love. So, even bad guys are good guys.
Sometimes, yes.
What do you smoke?
Marlboro Menthol.
Huh?
Marlboro Menthol.
Menthol, huh?
Yeah.
Winston 100.
Listen, this is nice, Ori, because usually when I interview people, I don't smoke during the interview. But with you, I can.
Yeah, you could smoke. Look you ain't going to believe this. Okay? I'm not supposed to be smoking in my apartment in Beverly Hills. They passed a law.
Right.
You can't smoke in your own apartment. You
That's
could buy a
the law?
condominium for $2 million and you can't smoke in it. But you know what I say? I say, screw them. They don't pay my rent.
Yeah.
So I smoke.
Fuck it. So, can you tell us a little bit more about what happened with Suge Knight and your friendship with him?
When what?
Can you tell us a little bit more about your friendship with Suge Knight and what happened with him and the money you collected?
Okay, that's a very interesting story. Suge had sold the distribution rights of Death Row Records to a guy named Ron Winters out of London. Ron was a sharp freaking guy. Now, I met Ron Winters over the phone. I had a big inventory from Universal of CDs and stuff. It was about $250,000 worth of product. And he was going to buy it. And we arranged paperwork, and he's wiring me the money. But no fucking wire ever came. I call him up. I got no wire. What takes a few days from England? No, wait a few days. There's nothing. Well, it's got to go to the Bank of England. Then it's got to go to the Bank of New York. He had story after story. He was very convincing. Until I realized this guy's full of shit and never sent the money. Now, he used to come into town and never tell anybody when he coming into town here. Now, what he was doing with Suge, he was not only distributing just in England, he was distributing in the rest of Europe. And he owed Suge much more than $1 million. So a friend of mine, a producer, we were talking one day, and he said, all right, I'm going to come see you. I got a meeting. I got to meet this guy, Ron Winters, at the Beverly Wilshire. I said, what? Ron Winters. I said, come here. I said, I'm going to tell you what you're going to do. I said, you're going to go ahead to meeting. I said, I want you to come downstairs. I'll be at the bar. Tell me what room he's in, because I'm going to go throw this motherfucker out the window. And he gets up there to the meeting, and who's in that meeting? Suge Knight. So the producer tells Suge that I'm downstairs, and I'm going to throw Ron Winters out the fucking window. And Suge came down to the bar, and that was the first time that he and I met. And he asked me, please, he says, this guy owes me a lot of money. He says, don't go throw him out the window. He said, listen, you and I will make money. You and I can make money together, he says.
Yeah.
I said, okay. And that's how we became friends. And then, obviously, when he didn't get any money from Winters, he called me. I went to his office over on Wilshire and San Vicente. He owned the building at the time. So we'll take care of it. And we made a special deal because normally when we collect money, we get 50% of the money. But me and my mates over in London made a special deal because we were going to do that for all the money Ron Winters owed. And so we did it for a lesser percentage. And we got the first $1 million. It was wired to Suge. When it was wired to him, he was in prison already again. I think it was a violation of some sort. You know, Suge was Suge. And but he called his lawyer and had them wire my money to my bank. No problem. My money was there the next day. He got his, I got mine. And we became friends for a long time. I wish that, unfortunately, he blew all his money. I firmly believe that if he would have had the money to keep attorney Tom Mazzaro as his lawyer, Tom's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
He would have beat that case of backing up and killing that guy.
You think
I
so?
think he honestly would have beat it.
Yeah.
But, they had him for the 3 strikes law and other bullshit here in California. And it is what it is, buddy.
Threw his life away, really.
Huh?
I said he threw his life away that day.
Yeah. I mean, people let egos get in their way.
Yeah.
Egos will destroy you. Egos will greed and jealousy are two reasons why our prisons are full. Greed and jealousy.
That's well said, Ori. It's true. It's very true. So he's doing life now, right, Shug?
Is it life for 30 something years? No matter what it is, it's life.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Might as well be. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Listen,
Yeah.
Ori, I want to take a second to let you promote your book. Your book is The Accidental Gangster. I heard
Yes.
you say that people that listen to podcasts don't buy books.
No, they don't. They don't buy books. Okay? I'll tell you a story. On my first book, my editor was Dennis Griffin. He passed away. But he also wrote the books about Frank Collada out of Las Vegas. And I remember they were on David Betta, and he called me up so excited. They got 10 million views.
Wow.
10 million views on David Betta. And I think they sold 7 books. They were, 10 million views. That's a lot of views. But, I got over 5 million views on all my YouTube things.
Yeah.
There's no way to calculate. But I'm going to tell you what, anybody that goes to my website today and says, but orders my book at my website, theaccidentalgangster.com. In the remarks section, put Fat Bald Sicilian, and I will also email you instantly a free audio book, which is another $9.95. That's free. My book is $24.95 plus $7.50 shipping. And that's all I got to say. So all you people and watching the podcast who don't buy books, now you can get the book and get the audio book. And you get an autograph.
You can't
and
beat
you're going to
that.
want my autograph because someday I'm going to be much more famous, folks, because there will be a movie made about me.
Oh,
That
I believe
can
it
guarantee.
100%.
It's in the works.
Yeah. So everybody listen, go to the accidentalgangster.com and when you order the book, write Fat Bald Sicilian and you'll get an autographed book and a free audio book mailed to you or emailed to you. You can't beat that. So do that today. I'm sure you'll find Ori's book very interesting. I've listened to it a couple of times now on Audible. It's fantastic. Ori has an unbelievable life story. So I want to ask you next, Ori, what kind of criminal activities were you involved in exactly that led up? What kind of criminal activities were you involved in that led up to your indictment?
Oh, how about robbing the LA City Jail cable boxes?
That's
How
one.
many people rob a jail?
Not many. Not many.
Yeah, I was a little fucking crazy in that area. They didn't like that. They didn't like that at all. Cocaine distribution, 50 kilos or more, which was not something that was created by me. It was created by an informant sitting on my couch. The son he sent out, Guy Furtado. And at the same time he was sitting there, my friend Ricky Lee got arrested for distribution in South Carolina. I was helping him out. And hang on. I was helping him out, and he was owed $500,000, which was on the streets of Brooklyn for cocaine that he shipped there. And the Mexicans were at my place that he owed the money to. That became an indictment. Michael Carapano and I were the only two. You can read about that in my book. There was a robbery in Burbank that they say I was the mastermind of, and there was a gun charge affiliated with that, and that gun charge became my charge. I did a 5-year minimum mandatory sentence on the gun charge.
Okay.
And I got 60 days only for the robbery. So, because Guy Furtado turned out on Michael Uvino trial earlier to be one of the worst informants that Judge Weinstein said he ever experienced in his lifetime. So they
Really?
did not want to use him on the stand against me.
So where did you do your time?
Well, I did my time, finished my time up at Lompoc up in Northern California.
And so you did a total of 62 months, right?
Yeah.
And you began that sentence at 63 years old,
Huh?
correct? You began your sentence at 63 years old, correct?
I got out. I was 68 years old when I got released
Wow.
with $120 in my pocket. And here I am. I live in the middle of Beverly Hills. What more could a man ask? But I work my ass off. And I work every day. And people want to know how they get wealthy. You get wealthy by working, folks. You don't get wealthy by sitting at home on your couch. You know, and I do a lot of interviews. I talk about motivation. I talk about mindset. And I train people. If they want training, I'm very expensive. No question about it. Okay? I get good money to train people in the sales area. But I guarantee you, if you listen to me, you will double or triple your sales. So it'll all come back to you.
So do you do speaking engagements?
Huh?
Do you do speaking engagements?
Yes, I do speaking engagements. Wait a minute, I gotta see. Yeah, I do speaking engagements. I spoke at the National Auto Dealer Association convention in Las Vegas just a few months ago. Okay, for those of you who don't know, I was the pioneer in the automotive after-sales market in the state of New York. I'm the guy that created the idea, instituted. I trained salespeople. I trained finance and business manager for automobile dealerships. I was doing close to $5 million a year back in those days, which would be over $20 million a year today.
Wow. Yeah, that's fantastic. You're definitely a natural born salesman. There's no doubt about that. Do you feel like, Ori, do you ever think that the gift of gab, like your ability to sell,
Huh?
do you ever feel like your sales skills helped you get into the situations you got into in life with the mob and
Yeah,
everything else?
absolutely. My sales ability got me into a lot of things.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
You know, I'm
It's fun.
really enjoying this interview, but I got a meeting coming here in a few moments. And this is a great interview, my friend, and I really thank you for this. I
Oh,
enjoyed
no
it
problem.
immensely.
No,
And
no
if you want to do
problem.
it again, all right, I'd be happy to do it again with you if you got more questions.
No, that sounds great to me, Ori. I want to thank you again. This was excellent. I appreciate you doing this. It means a lot to me. And I wish you luck in the future. Thank you again.
Thank you, buddy. Take
All right.
care. I love you. And please send me the link once you are finished, okay?
I will. I'll text
Thank
you in
you.
a little bit. All right. Thanks, Ori.
Take care now. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye. All right. So Very good. There was some more questions I wanted to ask Ori. I wanted to ask him what it's like to enter prison at the age he did, 63 years old. I would imagine the older you enter prison, the more hopeless you probably feel. But either way, I got pretty much all my questions in, except for a couple of little ones. So I'm very glad that Ori was willing to do this. He did this interview for free out of the kindness of his heart. It was a favor, so I appreciate that. And guys, please go to theaccidentalgangster.com today. I'm actually going to do it myself, just because even though I already have the audio book, I want an autographed copy of that book. The book is phenomenal. Okay. And listen, it's a piece of mob history. So I'm going to go to accidentalgangster.com today, and I'm going to let everybody know in there, listen, I'm Fat Bald Sicilian and I need a book. Okay, so you guys should do the same. He said go in, I guess, the remarks section, just write Fat Bald Sicilian, and not only will you get an autographed copy, but you'll get the audio book emailed to you for free. So that's fantastic. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun for me. It's difficult because Ori couldn't hear me that well. I didn't want to turn up my mic too much or it would have been distorted, but I did the best I could. Thank you, Beck. Thank you very much. I didn't know how you guys would feel about this one, but it seems like you were very pleased with it and you enjoyed it. So that makes me happy, and I've done my job. Let's see. Good stuff, Ori and FBS. Thanks for the interview. Yes, thank you, Mustache Pete. That was fantastic. Listen, 77 years old. He goes back a long way. He knew a lot of people, a lot of legends. Not to mention, we didn't even get to all the celebrities. I mean, he knew everybody. Sinatra, Dean Martin. He knew all of those people. So, what a life story. And listen, trust me, if you read the book, you'll get a much better picture of what his life was really like. Great job with the interview, Chris. Thank you. It's me. Mega fantastic interview, big time FBS. Oh, thanks, bro. Miss Can't Be Wrong. Great job, FBS. Thank you. Gentleman, real salesman type. Yeah, well, listen, that's the thing that I wanted to get into with Ori if we had more time. I could tell you from experience that if you're a good talker, you can get yourself into situations and in with people that the ordinary person usually can't. Okay, it's definitely, to have the gift of gab is it's a very good talent, I guess you could say, to have. It's very useful in life, and it can get you far. Philadelphia, thank you, bro. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming on last night. Jesus Christ, I feel like that was 2 hours ago you were on. I slept for like 4 bitch-ass hours. I'm exhausted, guys. I'm exhausted. I will be taking a long nap today. Miss McGinnis, wow, what an interview, FBS. This was your best. You were so relaxed. Thank you. And I was, and I'll tell you why. I spoke to Ori a few times over the last, I don't know. I started speaking to him, I'm going to say 6 months ago. And listen, he's very down to earth, very friendly, polite gentleman of a guy. And I know that he has so many stories. So you don't have to be a master interviewer to have a good interview with Ori Spado. I always pronounced it Spado, by the way, but he says it's Spado, so I respect that. Otis Driftwood, that was a great interview. Really, really good. I watched the whole interview. Well, thank you, bro. I appreciate that, man. Kevin Fahey, thank you. Richard Wing, it was great. Thank you, man. Mustache Pete, I love old timers like Ori. Makes me miss my grandparents. Yeah, you're telling me. I know. It's a true old school Italian guy right there. Right, with Philadelphia, am I wrong, or did I hear you say you were going to speak with him again today? Or am I wrong? Yes, but I didn't get a chance to. So I have no news for you yet. But later, we'll talk about all that. The Prince of Charm City, great interview, FBS. I'm glad you're back to doing them. Thank you. And I'm going to have another one with a lesser known guy. He's an actor though, but I think you guys will enjoy it. He seems like a character, and another guy who's just an absolute gentleman. And I'm actually very interested in talking to him and hearing his story. So I got another one coming up soon for you guys. Probably, I'm going to say next week. Shall not mean shall not. FBS, I thoroughly enjoyed this interview. Great content. Thank you. Thank you so much. Miss McGinnis, Ori was sharp. He is. He's sharp as a tack. 77 years old. You got to give it to him. He's an active, active as far as physically active. I got to be careful. He's a very active guy for his age. I mean, just a good guy all around. Danny Trio, thank you very much. And same to you on yours last night. The Billy Catolo interview was fantastic. Fantastic. Mikey Ritz, dope interview. Thank you, man. This will get 50,000 views in 20 minutes. Leave it to JC. Thank you, Mob Entertainment Group. Mini 560. Thank you, John O'Master, Joey Dimes. Thank you, sis. Yeah, he was great. He was great. I didn't know how this interview would go, but it went better than I expected. Thank you, Richard Wing. Jesse Roth, thank you. Miss McGinnis. Yes, it was, Emory. Every now and then we need, that's when I know, like I got a hold, like I said, I had been talking to Ori for a while, but last week I was like, yeah, it's time for an interview. So I texted Ori. I said, listen, you think you'd be willing to do an interview soon? And he said Tuesday, 9:30 his time. So that's 12:30 my time. So here we are. Some nice afternoon FBS entertainment. Yeah, it was good. I'm not used to doing a show this early, guys. I feel like it's fucking 5:00 at night. And thank you for everyone who sent a super chat. I appreciate it. You usually don't make anything on interviews, so at least I don't. So thank you for that. Obviously I wasn't going to interrupt, so I just put them on the screen during interviews. But thanks again. Thank you, Joseph Montanero. No, Mustache Pete, they don't. And you didn't get me. We didn't get to the point where I was able to ask him his feelings about rats. Trust me, read his book. Sling Blade, thank you. Oh, same age pretty much, huh, John O'Master? Mikey Ritz, great interview, FBS. That was the best Ori interview I've seen, and I've seen several. Oh, really? Thank you, Mikey Ritz. I appreciate that, bro. Joseph Montanero, Ori, yeah, straight class, absolutely. Thank you, New Day, New Man, My New Way. Yeah, Scott McDonald, it's worth it. $25, you get an autographed copy. I'm doing it. I'm going to do it right after this show is over. And I'm going to send Ori the link and thank him again. Thank you, Scott McDonald. Thank you very much, bro. Yeah, I'll check your email out then, Philadelphia. Sorry, bro. I got up at 10 o'clock and I was just getting ready for the show. Thanks, True Godson. Thank you, Bend Over. And a fine bottle of wine with these interviews. You get better every time. Thanks, bro. Thank you, Miss Charlie Steen. Yeah, everybody hit the like button, please. All right, this is an important show to me. I'd like to get it as many views as possible. So please hit the like button to get the algorithm out. If anybody's watching who isn't subscribed, please do that. And, hit the notification bell so you know when I'm going live. Brian Bozak, FBS, good interview. Just curious, did you hear back from Pee Wee? Let me check his email. I'll give you a quick word. Let me see what he says. All right, I can't seem to find it for some reason. Listen, I'll update you guys later. Do me a favor. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. All right, I won't tell you everything he said, but he did say no one called him. So I'm going to take Pee Wee's word for that no one called Jeff. Or he sounds like the type of guy that still holds doors open for women. Yeah, I'm sure he is. He's an absolute gentleman. Sonny Money, blows my mind that you had Ori on. I was really dead serious about to speak to him today, which I definitely going to reach out now. You blew my mind, FBS. Great interview. Ha ha ha. I figured, JC. Well, thank you. Thank you, Sonny Money. I appreciate it. And yeah, I know you have a friendship with Ori, so maybe you'll get to talk to him today after the show. I like guys like Ori because they tell the truth and don't give a shit about what anyone thinks or says. No, that's the best part. You hear the way Ori talks. He's 77 years old. You know, he's not going to worry. People don't want him to smoke in his apartment, whatever it may be. He's going to do what he wants and say what he wants. And it's always good to have a guest like that. Thanks, Chris. It was better watching this than the usual stuff Charlie makes me watch this time of night. Oh, well, listen, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm very glad, Alan. Thank you. I tried to entertain you guys as much as possible. Yes, he's a wealth of information. This interview could have went on for 3 hours. You know what I mean? Sonny Money, make sure to ask him in private what's the number one lesson Sonny Franzese taught him. It would help you vastly. Have a good day, FBS. All right, I will. Thanks, Sonny. I'm doing good, Wayne. Yeah, watch it from the beginning. It was excellent. It was excellent. Ori's a fantastic guest and a good guy all around. Oh, you had someone else in mind? I'm curious as to who. If you don't want to say it on here, email me, Miss Can't Be Wrong, because who knows? Maybe I'll be having that somebody on. Now I have to turn my back on you because I have to go mow the lawn. God damn it, Paulie. All right, well, have fun mowing the lawn. I hope your lawn is smaller than mine for your sake. Have a good day, sis. Talk to you soon. Ori is jealous of Michael Franzese. Yeah, I don't think so. Gregory Latham, you putting that work in, FBS. Great interview. They don't make. I'm sure that's finished somewhere. Thank you, though. I'll tell you what, my notification didn't work again. That pisses me off. Davis Dean, FBS, your subs are growing fast, real subs. Yeah, I think they for about a day or two, they started to move again. It looks like it slowed down again. But listen, I got over 5,000 subs, guys. When I started, I didn't expect to get any. So I can't complain. Wait, when he asked you what you smoke, when I smoked menthols years ago, I was asked by an old timer the same thing. I can't say what he told me for real. Mob Entertainment Group, or he said the exact same things about Mike Franzese in private to me that he said public. He is the same off camera as on, genuine. Oh yeah, he is. Yeah, he's the same guy. When you talk to him on the phone and stuff, yeah. That was my name. This man is sharp as a nail. Wow, an amazing recollection of events in his life. I agree. It went fast for me. I felt like there was so much more I could ask, but maybe we'll have him on again. Brian Press, great interviews, lots of history with Ori. Yes, thank you, Brian. Okay, Miss Can't Be Wrong. This was the best interview you've had, I think. Looking forward to more of them. Have a great day, buddy. Thank you, Rick Laponte. I hope the sound was good and everything. I'll go back now and critique this for the next 10 or 12 days. Joe Bag of Donuts. Brooklyn Rob 1 FBS. I think you should be the next network late night show host. What do you think? Listen, you know what? I highly doubt that I. No, I don't know about that. But I would love to be on the radio or something, Sirius XM, something like that one day. That is my goal. That is my goal. Meinreich exposed. Angelo Bruno is pissed at FBS. Yes, he is. Otis Driftwood, yo, you really did a good job with that interview. It was fascinating. Great job, bro. Thank you, man. Thank you. It's a good thing Angelo Bruno has been gone for a little over 40 years now. Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, that's just my theory. I don't listen when I have somebody on, especially somebody like Ori. You guys don't want to hear me talk. You hear me talk constantly. I want to listen to Ori and hear what he has to say. I'm genuinely interested, so I don't feel the need to cut him off and insert extra questions. And I have in my head what I want to ask him. And like Ori, the funny part is I had like 20, 25 questions up on my screen here, right? Soon as he got going, he started answering them without me even asking. So it does the work itself. Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, I'm out of here. All right, 183 people still. I think we hit about 200 or so. That's a hell of a lot more than I thought I would get on a Tuesday at 12 fucking 30 in the afternoon. So I thank you guys for being here. You're the best. I love you, as you know. Let me just read a couple more comments and I'm out. Philadelphia, it's great to have goals, brother. Gives you reasons to do what you do and makes you want to do better. Oh, exactly. Yeah, I have an end game here, guys. And I know, the haters be like, oh, I think she's going to be on the radio one day. Listen, you never know. You never know. I'll tell you one thing. You have to think like as if you already achieved something. That's what you got to do. You got to act as if you're already where you want to be, and you'll wind up getting there. Trust me, that's how life works. I've used it my whole life to get myself into negative situations. I'm going to use it now to get myself into a positive one. That's my goal. Thank you, Scott McDonald. I hope so. I don't know. I hope. I appreciate you saying that, though. Shall not mean shall not, FBS. I have no doubt that you will be on XM one day. Your interviews are great, and you can debate anyone. You will definitely have your own show on a radio station or XM for sure. Thank you, guys. Well, I'll tell you what. Start writing Sirius XM and let them know. They need to check out the Fat Bald Sicilian. Merlino is on the way up from Boca to have an up-close and personal with FBS. Madone. Enjoy your day, FBS. Celebrate. Yeah, I'm going to go do something with my wife. I'm going to be dead exhausted, but we're going to go do something fun. Maybe we'll go get some fireworks for the 4th. Who knows? My stepson goes to his dad's today at 3:30, so great interview like a pro, bro. Thank you, man. Thank you. I personally thought I did horrible on that one, but I appreciate it. Yeah, exactly, Joe Bag of Donuts. Exactly. And I'm a better speaker than him. Yeah, Jesse Roth, check it out. All right, guys, don't forget theaccidentalgangster.com. Go today and buy his book. Please prove Ori Spado wrong, that people who listen to podcasts do not buy books. Show them what a great community we have here. Please keep in mind that he did this interview for free out of the kindness of his heart. He's got better shit to do, but he did it anyway. So please show him some love and go grab a copy of his book, all right? Thank you for everything. I love you all. And until later today, salute.